Then I'll definitely give you credit.
The geographer was. Okay. Let's see. Which was the hardest language? I really truly think that the hardest language for me to learn was Russian because of the different alphabet. When I got to Russia, yeah,
Bist du magazine? Did you go to the Russian store?
totally different. Not only that, but I don't know if you're aware, but many words in Polish and in Russian mean just exactly the opposite.
Yes.
Zapomnieć?
Does that mean forget in Polish?
In Polish it means to forget, in Russian it means to remember. So every once in a while they would say, "You're not going to remember that?" Yeah, I'm going to remember it. Well, you just said you're going to forget it. It's like, so it was more complicated. When I got to Germany, can you read this? I had to face this. But at least the alphabet was the same.
Okay.
So, it was so I would say for me, Russian was the most difficult. Spanish, I think, is the easiest language. But I'm also a lot older. I'm 87, so the older you are, the harder it is to learn a new language. But in those days, I learned Russian like in 2 months. It was no problem at all. Of course, my scientific, when I went back to Russia, and even to Poland, I always give my lectures in English because I still left as a teenager or a child, so my scientific knowledge was primarily English. And I didn't know a lot of the terminology. In fact, one time I was giving a lecture in Poland, and they started asking questions, in Polish, and there was a translator. And then I said, well, I understand what they say, you don't need to translate. But when I answered later, my friend who arranged for the lectures told me, Anna, the lecture was very interesting, but instead of talking about transport of an oocyte to the female oviduct, you were actually talking about the oocyte traveling through scrambled eggs. The word for the oviduct, yainiki, very similar. I used the wrong term. Nobody cracked a smile. Nobody polished me. So from that point on, I said English only. Even if I understand what they're saying, it's going to be English only.
Yeah.
Okay, cultural differences. What cultural differences, difficulties did you experience in regards to education in the Soviet Union, Poland, Germany, and in the U.S.? One thing I have to tell you that I had many campaigns, to eliminate discrimination. The commission writes letters, to the president and to leaders of other countries trying to stop atrocities, trying to stop genocide. But one of my campaigns is to change the educational system in this country. I think 12 years of high school, you are now, which the ninth grade. I think 12 years of high school, 4 years of college, it's already 16 years, right? 4 years of medical school, 16 years before you enter your professional training is much, much too long. In the Soviet Union, Natasha probably knows this, 10 years you go to school. It's called 10 лет, 10 years. I finished 10 лет and I started medical school. That's why when I came to Germany at the age of 16, 17, I already almost had 1 year of medical school. I think this, I know teachers say we don't have enough time to teach everything. I always say learning is a lifelong experience. You cannot teach everything in 10 years or 12 years. You have to inspire students to want to learn. and then we'll continue them. Don't worry about not giving all the thoughts. It's inspiring to know that. I'm still learning. I'm 87. I pick up a book and I love learning new things. So I think there's something wrong with our system. Teachers constantly are the commission added a lot of information about the Holocaust, the Armenian genocide incident. We all read about the Armenian genocide. And also the AP, the advanced placement, didn't have anything about the Holocaust, so we made sure things were better. So what the heck do you do for 12 years and then 4 years of college?
Most of the time we didn't even make it past the Cold War in high school. I
They
didn't get
teach
past
you
there.
many trivial facts. They should just give you the concept. And I hated trigonometry. I always loved science. I loved chemistry. I loved biology. Trigonometry. I'm not going to be an engineer. I knew I wanted to go into medical related. I think my uncle, the doctor, inspired me to go into medical. So why do I have to learn something that I know I'll never use in life? I think it's more important just to give you the major concept and let you lose. Continue learning, depending on your interest. I'm not very good in geography. I never was, I never will be. This just gives you, I'll do one side at a time. Okay, this is where I was born. See, kind of south of Warsaw. And this is where I skied. It was about Eastern Poland. And then I just went out and Steinberger, we lived in Samaria. And then Almata, where the mom sits. Okay, so here it is. This is the mom. Here's Poland. I was going to show you. Oh, okay.
I can hear it slow.
Okay, so Radom. This is Radom. I spent just a few weeks. And then, oh, you can see myself.
Steinberger.
Oh, Steinberger. Okay. Well, this is Steinberger. That's why spent about 2 years. And then look at the distance. And then after and all this I kept training and so on. So then, in the end of 46, we made this trip back, coming back. Germany and then it was a long journey. To show you, this is what I look like when, oh no, look at this one. Here I am, 11 years old with my brother, 16. People said I was a cute girl, by the way. I don't know if you ever heard about the Germanization program where Nazis were taking children away from their parents, sending them back to Germany, to be raised as German citizens.
Blonde hair.
I was a bit funny. I could have been a perfect Korean girl. I had blue eyes, very light blonde hair. And here I am with my parents. This was already, this picture was taken, I'm just trying to remember. It was already taken in the Soviet Union, but shortly after we finished. Taylor and sisters. And this was the young man I met in Almata and eventually married. We were both very avid skiers. And this is our friend dressed as a teddy bear.
I was going to ask if that was in Russian, but I guess not.
We were skiing. We could not have been. We were skiing in the Soviet Union. Now this was already probably in Colorado, and we look pretty happy. We don't look so happy here. Happy here and happy here. In between, not so happy. Always happy. So, okay. So I'm talking about the education. I personally think that education in the Soviet Union was a very high caliber. 80% of physicians in the Soviet Union were women. I was at UT Medical School for about 30 years. We finally reached about 50-50 men and women in medical school. When we started about 30 years ago, it was still predominantly men. Now I think we're going to go more into computers, engineering, so many more women are going into medicine. But right now it's about 50-50. Education in Germany before the war and now after the war was a very interesting.
Was it free? Because I know now it's free if you have good grades. Was it free for you to go into university in Germany?
When you say free, you mean when you need documents?
No, did you have to pay money to attend university?
One thing I have to tell you is, as a Jew, after the war, my education was free. My transport, I had a little card that said that I was an escapee during the war. And even movies were free. I just showed that little card. What troubled me a little bit is I already knew something about the concentration camps. And my German professors, we did not know anything. We knew there were labor camps. You know, we were fighting the war. So it was necessary to have people use this labor to support the war. So we knew there were labor camps. And yeah, a lot of Jews were in those labor camps. They were rounded up and put in labor camps. But we did not know anything about gas chambers and mass killings. So they were kind of in denial. Or big lie, one or the other. Because, you know, many people lived around these concentration camps. How could they not know? I mean, the air must have been just filled with the organ of burn clouds. You know, you burn an egg, it stinks like the whole day in your kitchen. And these chimneys were going day and night. So I never really believed them, but as I mentioned before, I did not know the full extent of the atrocities until I actually came back to Poland. seems to be able to solve the problems diplomatically. I was always told by my parents, you disagree with the school, just invite them over for coffee or dinner and we'll talk things over. Or, just sit down and resolve the issue. I mean, that's why people talk. Use your mouth. Don't don't get violent about it. That just doesn't seem to work. Okay, now you feel ashamed of your culture. That prompts you to end actions. Ashamed of my culture, no. I was never really growing up in Poland. I went to a private school that was very mixed, Catholic, 99% of people were Catholic. So most of my classmates, I think it was we had about 28 students. I and one of the girls were Jewish. And there was a tradition before the school started, everybody had to get out, and there was a Catholic prayer, and my Catholic friends would cross themselves. My Jewish friend and I would stand up with respect, and we would not cross ourselves. So then they would tease us. Oh, you cross yourself. You end by Christ, you end by Jesus, and by this, and end by that. But there was never real violence. And in Russia, most of my friends were Christian. So I don't think they really cared that I was Jewish. It's like we were all good friends. And being blind, some of them didn't even think I was Jewish or didn't know I was Jewish. But I was never made an issue of that. My parents were not very observant. They were not very observant before the war. We never kept a kosher house. And most of my father's clientele was actually Christian. And like my father, we lived in Center Town. And my father and I were also invited to his Christian clients for at Christmas. We were getting Christmas gifts. We did observe traditions, holidays. My mom always lit candles on Friday. But we also ate ham as children. So it was kind of, my father used to say, I don't have to run to the synagogue every morning and every evening. I'm as close to God in my own home as I am in the synagogue. Just be a good human being and treat others well. So I was kind of brought up in a more inclusive sense. Also, my name was Catholic, and we lived right across the major church, St. Mary's Church in Radom. So I would go with her to church sometimes because she didn't want to leave me home alone. Our parents were maybe out of town, or busy, or whatever. So yeah, pretty. I liked the music, and I found it fascinating what the priest was saying, and I absorbed many cultures and many religions as I was growing up. When my girls were growing up, most of my babysitters were African American. And sometimes they would bring their children to play with the white children. So my girls were also growing up very So right now,
that's what I was waiting for.
the state of Israel, which I support financially and philosophically, I'm very proud of Israel. Israel now has the best air force in the world. Israel has made more advances in medical sciences and technology and in agriculture. When I give tours, sometimes people say, what is it the Jewish people were never working like on land? They were always like exchanging money, doing banking. Why didn't they get their hands dirty? Well, people are ignorant. Many people make comments out of ignorance. the farmers maybe did not want to hire Jewish people to work on farms. So they became tailors like my father, shoemakers, bankers, I mean, handling money, tax collector. In other words, you do what you allowed to do, what you can do. You've got to earn a living. And if you cannot do this, then you try to do what you can do. So a lot of people just speak and of course, anti-Semitic teachings. I don't know, what is your religion?
I went to the Ben Yeshua whenever I was little, and I'm not super religious, but I go to church, Christian church every now and then.
Christian? Which Christian? Catholic?
No, I mean, it's
Christian,
it's
okay.
mostly.
How about you?
I'm Presbyterian.
Presbyterian. Yeah, well, I was growing up, with Catholics, so I'm primarily. But anyway, so I'm really very proud to be Jewish. You probably heard of the dripping hose, a hose that has little holes to preserve water instead of watering the lawn. You just run the water, to the dripping hose with little holes in it. And that was in Israel. A lot of other desalinization processes also being developed in Israel. And a little camera which can swallow for colonoscopy. Many advances. So I'm very proud of what this country was able to accomplish since 1948. So how long that was? 75 country that's 75 years old is able to defend itself, surrounded by enemies. So to answer your question, I'm very proud. I'm not a very observant being. I don't go to synagogue. Today's Saturday, I'm here talking with you. And so, to me, a good human being with a good character that doesn't just think of themselves but thinks of the community and helps others is the human being that I cherish, regardless of color, background, religion, or whatever. We should all have the freedom to worship God the way we choose. There are many different ways you can worship God, and that's fine with me. Okay. We can overlap with other holidays. Well, I have to tell you, I was born like maybe half an hour past midnight on New Year's. And everybody always celebrates New Year's. Her question is how I feel overlapping.
I read the interview that you had before.
About two holidays which overlap. Your birthday and New Year's, your anniversary and Christmas. Emil and I were born on Christmas Day because that was the only day his supervisor gave him time off. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of a little strange sometimes. Everybody celebrates New Year's. Everybody gets drunk and happy and making New Year's resolutions. And my husband would say about 12, 20, frustrated, he would say, by the way, everybody, Anna's birthday. Oh, really? Happy birthday, Anna. And a Happy New Year. Back to you. So I rarely actually. In a way, I had a big birthday party, but I also never had a separate birthday. Okay, so anniversary and Christmas. Yeah, we got married Christmas Eve. I lost my husband about 6 years ago now. Lung cancer. He was a heavy smoker. And even though he stopped for about 20 years, it still come out. How do you find a husband that's supportive? Do you think that him having similar but strong interest was integral in him being so supportive? See, she read, I was interviewed for an award that I got from the medical school some time ago. So that's why she asked these questions. All my secrets. Yeah, and we were married for 58 years, and we met. How many years? We met in 1944, I think. Yeah, I was about 60. And we got married in 1950, so we knew each other for 6 years. And there was no hanky-panky. We just studied together, we ice skated together. We went to the opera and movies and theater. A loaf of bread on the black market in the Soviet Union was like 100 rubles. But a ticket to the theater was 2 rubles. So we had enough money to go to the theater, but not to buy a loaf of bread. Not to mention the fact that many times I didn't even pay. I would say, oh, my boyfriend has tickets in the back there. So there was a question about unethical behavior, was it yours? Did I do something? Where was it? I think it was one of your questions. That I did something. One of you has asked what I did something I was not too proud of. Yeah, I would lie occasionally. I would lie. I would just to get into a theater and maybe sometimes try to break the queue when I saw that they actually were giving out bread, or I would try to sneak in a little bit in front of the line. And I have to tell you that both of my parents were straight as an arrow. And when I told them about it, they said, you do that, shame on you. You could have. I said, well, if I would have stayed in line, I would have been so late for school. So I tried. Well, maybe other people have commitments too. You should have done that. So anyway. How to find a good husband? Are you dating anyone?
Yes, I am.
You have similar interests?
Sometimes.
When you say sometimes, I don't mean similar interests about the movie, but something that you're passionate about, like either art or science or volunteering somewhere, something more basic.
I'm passionate about a lot of things, and he's passionate about what I'm passionate about, so it works out.
So that's not bad, as long as he's honest about it. Well, my future husband's parents were both dentists, so when we met at the age of 16, I met his parents, and they always wanted Emil, that's his name, also to be a dentist. But he said, no, I don't like dentistry. He saw his mom digging in people's mouths. But he says, I am interested in medicine. So he compromised. He became a physician. He had an MD PhD from Iowa City, from the University of Iowa. And so he was able to see patients as well.